Okay, we just finished shooting. I'm going to show you a quick field strip and let you look at the fit and finish and quality of the gun. I'm really impressed with it. It's tight. I don't see any pitting or anything that indicates any lack of quality or quality control with the gun. It's very clean. Take all of the springs are crisp. The levers are crisp. The safety is fairly crisp. You do have to put a good bit of pressure on that to get it to go. But when the safety is on, it is easy enough to take off with your thumb. I did stand here and cycle this thing for probably 1,000 times just to wear these parts and to get rid of any rough edges. And that has smoothed the safety out a bit. But the takedown on it is really very simple. You simply lock the slide back, move the takedown arm, and you can push the arm down here. What I like to do is to just release the slide and then pull the trigger and let the slide come right off. And you can see the design is clean, simple. There's not a lot of extraneous parts and stuff in here. Nothing fancy. It's just a simple striker fire. It does have a captured spring, which if you take the spring out, you can see it's captured. And I was a little concerned at first when I saw this just thin disc of metal is what it rests against. I thought, how strong can that be? Will it pop out of place? And it really doesn't. It seems to ride in there real well. Obviously, if they were having problems with that design, they'd have to change it eventually, but it seems to do real good. The spring is solid. The barrel is a nice tight fit. It's got some substance to the barrel. Nice thick walls. It's got pronounced rifling in it. I don't see any blemishes in the barrel. Some of the, I won't mention any brand names, but if you get some guns that are of a little bit lower quality, you can look on the feed ramp and maybe see a little pitting or little scratches or pitting in here in the manufacturing process. But this is a very clean build. I don't see any blemishes, and you can see it has a fairly short feed ramp here. And I showed you in the video the tilt of the gun, the tilt of this barrel when it comes back is such that this feed ramp is way down low, and the bullet, when it is feeding into this barrel, if you look down in there, hopefully you could in the video, the front of the bullet is up here. This thing would probably feed without this feed ramp, which makes it a very reliable feeding gun, which is what you want, especially in a defensive weapon that you're going to be carrying. And I was very pleased to find it. This is right now, due to the supply, March 2013. The supply on these is still a fairly low occurrence. I've been to several gun shows. I've been looking almost a year ever since it came out for this gun. Just haven't been able to find any. I either show up right after the guy that bought the only one they had, or they just laugh at me, yeah, right, we'll get one of those in a year. But I walked into a local gun shop down here, and there it was laying there. It had been in the case about 20 minutes. And I just said, I want that. And the guy misunderstood and said, you want to see that? I said, no, I don't want to see it, I want it. So he just took it out of the case, and I bought it right then. And but it had been in the case less than a half hour. It was still cold from being on the UPS truck in the box, because as soon as he got it in, he put it out. The sights on here, if I had to, I can tell you the great parts about the gun all day long. If I had to tell you the negatives on it, if you're looking to buy one of these, of what negatives there are, I would say one is the sights are not all that adjustable. There's no elevation adjustment whatsoever. And the windage adjustment, basically you just take a punch and knock the front sight around, which I still need to do. It out of the box is just a little bit off. It shoots a little left. And I don't know if you can tell on the video, but if you zoom in right there, you can tell that that is just a tad off on the fit here. But That's minor. One thing that I miss from the LC9, which was my previous carry, I didn't even realize I would miss this, is the slide lock when the safety is on. On the LC9, when you lock the safety, it locks the slide. The slide won't lock. Well, on this one you can still cycle it with the safety on. Well, that's good if you want to empty the gun or chamber around. Yeah, it's much easier. You're in a safer way because the safe is the trigger safe, not the slide safe. But what I didn't expect is that when I carry in the waistband, my holster is kind of a tight fit for it. So when you go to holster the gun, you're sliding it in, and I found a couple of times, if I'm not careful, the slide will start to actuate. I've never had it come far enough to eject around. Generally, it'll come back to about there. And so when I holster the gun, I'm having to get into a habit of putting my thumb back here to make sure when I push it in the holster, I don't accidentally actuate the slide. Other than that, I can't really say that there's a lot of negatives on the gun. Of course, it is a compact 9mm. It's snappier than a full size. I've got an SR9 over here, full size 9mm. You can tell there's quite a difference in size between them. So when you fire the gun, when you fire this one, it's kind of a lumbering recoil. It's just a nice, comfortable recoil. There's very little flip to it at all. And when you fire this one, it's not bad, but there is a lot more snap to it. And if you're recoil sensitive, you should fire one of these before you buy one. See if you can find someone with one, or find a range that has one that they'll rent you, because there is a little bit more snap to this gun. And when you fire it, you know, it's going to want to pull up just a little bit, but it's not bad. I would have to say, comparing between the LC9 and this gun, that the LC9 is actually a little bit snappier. Seems to have a little bit more recoil than this one does. But again, not being recoil sensitive, at least to this level, I'm probably not the best one to tell you. You need to have someone who is recoil sensitive fire them and kind of explain their opinion. But the best thing to do is to shoot one before you buy it, if you're considering one of these. And that's really about it. Leave some comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will I have some video of my daughter shooting the SR9 for the first time. She did fairly well, was able to hit the target a few times. She's going to practice more with that, and I'll probably let her start shooting the M&P 9 Shield here. And of course my son, who's currently behind the camera, shoots too, and we already have video of him shooting I think all but this gun. We'll see if we can get him to shoot this one a few times. I'm sure, I don't know, I might be able to convince him to fire this gun. I don't know. He may just be totally uninterested and not want to fire the M&P 9 Shield. Maybe a boring gun to him, but we'll see.